Well, during today's demo, we're going to cover three main topics. First, we'll run through a quick introduction to the Marketing Cloud Engagement platform. Next, we'll explore the features that allow you to personalize your messaging based on the data that you have about your messaging recipients. And finally, we'll look at Journey Builder, including a peek at some of the journey templates that come included with Marketing Cloud Engagement and how to modify them to make them your own. When you first log into Marketing Cloud, you arrive to the dashboard, which includes the journey templates across the top here that we'll explore later, a calendar that displays your scheduled sends for the current week, links to training resources, and lists of the assets that you've been working with most recently. Next, I'm going to walk through the main navigation across the top of the screen here and quickly describe each of the available modules. Email Studio is where you compose, schedule, and send email messages, manage subscribers, and test and track your email messages. Mobile Studio is where you manage all of your mobile messaging, including Mobile Connect for SMS and MMS messaging, Mobile Push for in-app push messaging, and Group Connect for group messaging apps like Facebook Messenger and Line. Some of the available tools are paid add-ons. Those include Social Studio for managing your social media presence, though this tool is being retired later this year. Advertising integrates digital advertising campaigns with Salesforce CRM. Personalization allows you to personalize messaging on your website to include products and services that interest your constituents most. Within Web Studio, you can build landing pages that help introduce your campaigns and collect information from prospects and constituents. Analytics Builder allows you to track and measure the performance of your campaigns and journeys. With Journey Builder, you can build powerful, personalized marketing journeys. Automation Studio is also accessible here, which is where you configure and manage the automations that prepare your data for use throughout the platform. Content Builder allows you to manage your content and assets in a single location, though a lot of this functionality is also available within Email Studio. With Audience Builder, you can create a single view of your customers with information from any source. This is the heart of the contact management features. Einstein represents a variety of AI-powered features like engagement scoring, send time optimization, copy insights, and content selection. And finally, App Exchange is an online marketplace for Marketing Cloud apps and added features. And Package Manager allows you to package journeys and other assets for easy migration to other Marketing Cloud business units and instances. Next, we're going to have a closer look at the personalization features that we highlighted earlier today. For that, we will be working within Email Studio. So I'm going to navigate there now. We have a personalization example email that we'll use to review this functionality. So I'm going to open that email, and then once it comes up, I will choose to edit content to bring up Marketing Cloud's Email Builder tool. First, we'd like to demonstrate how to include recipient data within an email using personalization strings. This is not a unique feature for Marketing Cloud, but it can be very effective for grabbing a reader's attention, and it's very easy to do. Simply click into the section of your email where you'd like to add the personalized data, then place your cursor in the appropriate location, and click the drop-down element within the WYSIWYG editor and select the data point that you'd like to include. In this example, we're going to include the recipient's first name. You can also see that this same functionality is available within the subject line interface as well as here within the pre-header interface. It is always possible that some fields will not have data for all of your contacts. So you have options available like setting a default value when you initially configure the data attribute, or using conditional code to only include a value when one exists. Next, we'll have a quick look at the dynamic content feature, which allows you to modify the content of your email based on data that you have stored within Marketing Cloud about your contacts. We do have some dynamic content included within this email. When I click the dynamic content component within the email, the left sidebar populates with the logic that we've configured based on which newsletters our contacts are subscribed to. And I know this is a little bit small to read, so I'll describe it for you. First, you set up the default content that you want contacts to see if they don't meet any of the rules configured below. In this example, we have not configured default content since we are just adding content if any of the rules below are met. Rule 1 is configured to insert a content block about volunteering if the recipient is subscribed to our Volunteer Opportunities newsletter. So I'm going to click the edit link here to display the logic for that rule. This is the drag and drop editor that makes it easy to build out the logic that you want to use for your rules. In this case, we're given a list of the attributes available within our selected data extension or database table on the left side of the screen, and we drag the ones that we want to include within our logic to the main body of the screen, and then adjust the filtering rules as needed. So for this rule, we're looking for contacts with a value of true for the Volunteer Opportunities subscription. Rule 2 is configured to insert a content block thanking the recipient for their interest in supporting our organization financially if the recipient is subscribed to our Donation Opportunities newsletter. So if we open that up, it looks very similar, except we're looking at the Donation Opportunities subscription attribute instead of the Volunteer Opportunities subscription attribute. And at the top of the screen is where we select the content that we want to include if the recipient meets that requirement. One of the things that we love about the dynamic content feature is that it can be used to present different imagery as well as text. And we have an example of this functionality built into our email. If I click on the hero image within the email, you'll see the dynamic content configuration along the left side of the screen again. In this case, we have a photo of the Golden Gate Bridge for contacts who do not meet either of the configured rules. And then rules 1 and 2 use the same logic that we saw within the body of the email, but we're displaying a photo of volunteers for contacts who are subscribed to the Volunteer Opportunities newsletter, and a photo of children benefiting from donations for contacts who are subscribed to the Donation Opportunities newsletter. This is an example of how a powerful platform like Marketing Cloud Engagement can help create a more personalized experience for your audience without you having to do a ton of work on your own. Next, we can use the preview and test feature to display how the email will appear for different contacts. So I'm going to do that by clicking on the preview and test link within the secondary nav bar. Here on the left side of the screen, you can see the attributes for each contact as we cycle through the data extension, and you can see how the email changes depending upon the contact's data. We have 4 contacts configured within our test data extension. Michael Jordan is subscribed to the Volunteer Opportunities newsletter, but not to the Donation Opportunities newsletter. So the hero image and body text are focused on volunteering. Dirk Nowitzki is subscribed to both newsletters. And because the volunteer rule is configured first, he receives imagery and text for volunteers. Lionel Messi is next. He is not subscribed to either of the newsletters, so he gets the default hero image and no additional body text. And finally, Tom Brady is subscribed to the donation opportunities newsletter, but not volunteer opportunities. So he sees the image of the children benefiting from the donations that the organization has received and the additional donation-focused body text. In addition to the preview feature that we were just looking at, you can also send test versions of your emails to different addresses or records within test data extensions. And you can also generate screenshots via the integrated Litmus service if you have an active Litmus Enterprise account. So next, we're going to turn our focus to Journey Builder, beginning by taking a quick peek at the journey templates that Marketing Cloud makes available, which we saw when we previewed the dashboard for our Marketing Cloud instance. So I'm going to navigate back to the dashboard. These cards across the top of the dashboard are the journey templates, and they include abandoned cart scenarios, an anniversary send, a birthday journey with coupon, event follow-up, path optimizer, email A/B test, a re-engagement campaign, and welcome journeys with and without engagement incorporated. Each of these journey types can be valuable, and some are easier to configure than others. For our demo today, we're going to use the welcome journey with engagement, which is a very common first journey for new Marketing Cloud engagement users. We want to begin by showing how easy it is to start a journey using one of these templates. So I'm going to click on the welcome journey with engagement template, and just a few seconds later, we will have the shell of the journey ready to be configured. In the left sidebar, there's a brief description of the journey, including what you'll need to complete its configuration. In the case of this journey, you'll need a sendable data extension, 5 emails with tracking enabled, and the data that you'll need to personalize those emails. After clicking the Get Started button, the full Journey Builder tool is revealed, including configuration tips for each node within the journey. The journey is configured to use a data extension for its audience, so you will just need an automation or a process for adding new subscribers to the data extension that we'll select. It's also possible to tie the journey directly to an automation within Marketing Cloud or to use an API event instead of a data extension. You can hover over each element within the journey to receive a tip about how best to use it. For example, if I hover over the Welcome One email node, the tip recommends that I acknowledge sign up, set expectations for future content and cadence, and introduce my brand. If we take a quick peek at the full journey, you'll see that everybody receives the same Welcome One email, and then the journey waits 1 day before analyzing your data for an engagement split. For that engagement split, the journey will check to see whether the contact took a particular action, like clicked a link in your first email or submitted a survey that was linked from your first email. If that action was taken, the contact travels down the yes path and receives a second email, waits a day, and then receives a third email before exiting the journey. If the action was not taken, the contact travels down the no path and receives a second version of the first email, which would likely include a stronger case to take the preferred action and perhaps some additional incentive that wasn't offered originally. After waiting another day, another engagement split is analyzed, and if the contact has taken the desired action, they are returned to the original yes path and eventually sent the second and third emails. If the action was not taken, the contact receives a final version of that first email and then exits the journey. Next, we're going to take a few minutes to review an example of how we completed the configuration of our welcome journey before wrapping things up. So I'm going to head toward the journey's dashboard. I'm not going to save this example, but I am going to open up this one. You'll recognize the same layout from the journey template. but all of the elements that were previously grayed out are now appearing in color to represent that they've been configured correctly. I'm going to click on the data extension node. We selected the Welcome Journey Contacts data extension, and we are not filtering the contacts within the data extension because the assumption is that we've pre-filtered the contacts who make it into this data extension. Next, I'll click on the schedule node. The journey is scheduled to run every day and to only evaluate new records, since the assumption is that we would only want our contacts to pass through the welcome journey one time. That's another big thing about a platform like Marketing Cloud Engagement. You can rely on the tool and feel confident that your audience will have a positive experience with your organization's messaging. This is yet another example of how investing in a powerful platform like this can save your staff a headache and improve the experience of your constituents. By clicking on any of the email nodes, you can see a preview of each email, including the ability to modify the emails without leaving Journey Builder. So within this dropdown, I can select Edit Message and jump right into the email builder, which you'll recognize from earlier in the demo. If I jump back out of there, you can also set and adjust your send configuration directly here within that email node. You might notice that we changed the length of some of our wait nodes from 1 day to 4 days, and that's as easy as clicking on the node and then adjusting the settings here in the panel on the left side of the screen. For our engagement split, we're testing to see if the contact clicked on the main call to action link within the Welcome Journey 1 email. And then within this configuration window, you can see that in addition to clicks, we can also watch for an email open or bounce, and you can specify which link or links within the email would qualify as a successful engagement. In this example, we only have a single link, so it is the only one that appears in the list there. The last feature that we want to highlight is the journey testing tool, which becomes available after you save and validate your journey. Validating the journey can take a minute or two, depending upon the complexity of your journey and on how much activity is taking place on the server when you initiate the validation. It looks like that was quick, which is great. So I can click on the test journey button here. We'll be asked to choose the contacts that we want to use for our testing. We are going to use all 4 contacts that we currently have within our entry data extension. Under the Send Type tab, we have the option of not sending email messages or sending email messages to a single email address that you specify. And for our example, I am not going to send those emails. And finally, the Test Behavior tab describes how the test will be handled. Just a few additional configuration details included there. If I go back to the summary screen and click the Start Test button, you'll see the tool thinking for a few seconds, and then it will eventually display the path that each of our 4 contacts took through the journey by using a blue line to trace the path that they took. And so we'll give that just a few more seconds to finish preparing the testing. Great, there we go. So I'll click through our 4 test contacts and describe the experience that they had. It looks like Michael Jordan received the initial email, and 4 days later, the engagement split was checked. He had not yet engaged with the email in the way that we were hoping for, so he headed down the no path, received a second version of that initial email, 4 days later, we analyzed another engagement split, and he had interacted with the second email. So he was returned to the yes path here, along with the audience that interacted with the first email, and will eventually receive the second and third emails before exiting the journey there. Who's this? Tom Brady did not interact with the initial email and did not interact with the second version of that initial email. So he received a third version of the email and then exited the journey soon after receiving that email. Dirk stayed on the happy path the entire time. He received the first email 4 days later. It was determined that he had interacted or engaged with it as we had hoped. So he received the second email and 4 days later the third before exiting. And then Lionel Messi looks like he followed the same path that we saw earlier, where he did not engage with the first email, but did engage with the second. And so he was returned to the happy path and got the second and third emails before exiting the journey. If we had chosen to send emails to a test email address, we could cycle through all of those emails within our inbox and see how they were modified based on the contact's data and the randomized path that they took through the journey.